And I remember being in Brussels more than 20 years ago with a project I was then conducting where we were looking at scenarios for the future of Europe.
I think in 10 years the European Union will be bigger.
10 years from now, it's going to be tough.
In one of the scenarios we gave a very strong title, which was Titanic.
To have a Europe of the regions and not of countries.
When you came to Brussels and you were referring to these scenarios, including the Titanic scenario, you were told this is blasphemy. You're not allowed to talk about Titanic and link that to the European Union.
8 months ago, it was just before the Dutch elections and it was just before the French elections. And there was a genuine fear that France and the Netherlands were going to follow the Brits out the door.
There was, I would even say, a feeling of collective depression. These years of polycrisis have led to what I always call a lot of collateral damage, distrust and fragmentation between member states. We have an increased divergence. You often get the feeling that people live, I'm going to be strong in my words, live on different planets.
France elected the most pro-EU candidate that has stood anywhere in Europe in a long, long time. The economy is going very well.
There is a new sense of optimism. And that has to do, I think, with a number of unifying factors. That Brexit has been a unifying element. It has moved member states closer to each other. I think a second factor, what we should not forget, is Trump. It created a lot of uncertainties, and uncertainty creates unity.
If you think President Macron will achieve genuine change during his presidency throughout Europe, raise your hand now. And those who think he will not achieve genuine change in this 5-year term. Is that about 50-50, Janis?
I think it's 60-40.
60-40.
There might be a window of opportunity for changing things, for progressing. I think that this window of opportunity is neither big nor will it last very long. We might have until the end of 2018.
I think the next 2 to 3 years are essential. Do you go further into integration or do you disintegrate?
I don't think the window will shut, but I think the time is good now.
It is high time. It is high time that we all, companies, civil society organizations, policymakers, join our efforts to make our union stronger and more resilient.
We'll have more chances of success if it goes beyond the alliance between France and Germany, and if it goes much deeper than national political elites.
Traditional parties don't have the answers anymore to the questions that we face, and that therefore perhaps we need to rethink policy making much more in terms of stakeholder involvement.
There is a big gap between declared policies and policies in the real, everyday life.
We see really challenges on the rule of law, economic nationalism and protectionism, and therefore to really better communicate on the benefits of open trade.
The interesting question is whether you will have a development at European level where you will see the creation of movements which might develop into European parties, which are genuine European parties.
We are faced with a situation in which most political problems that the European Union will have to solve are no longer national. Yet again, there is a need for political compromise and also political competition.
Nobody knows about Europe. Nobody knows who is your member of parliament. Europe has to be closer to the citizens.
We cannot be sentimental, romantic. But we have to still have visions and help the new generations to work in the EU, to stay in the EU and make the EU more powerful.
We need a win-win package deal, which reflects the interests and the concerns of different positions between member states, but also within member states.
What we need is a sort of movement for change that is driven by a concern that we need to invest in all members of society and its social investment.
The easy solutions are not the right solutions. So thinking that by getting your country back, by voting to exit the European Union, that the future will be bright, it's not true. But unfortunately, it might be a high price which has to be paid by a country.
It was a joy for me being a speaker, but I also had the impression that people were really interested. There was an engagement, people wanted to pose questions, wanted to make comments. So it was something which was interactive, and I think that's important for these kind of events.